Hello again, everybody. It's Takedown Scott Casper. We continue our coverage of the sport as only we do. Director of National Events for USA Wrestling, Pete Isais, joins us. Pete, you are really starting to gear things up right now. We have the US Open coming up. We also have the World Cup, which adds a whole lot of difference to your plate. Let's talk about the pressure on your staff and that of USA Wrestling coming up.
Well, as you said, Scott, we've got the World Cup coming up with 10 teams, March 15th to 16th in Los Angeles, and we've reimagined the US Open. So both those events have put quite a bit on our plates, but it's a challenge we're looking forward to. Obviously, long hours, but we want to do what's best for the sport, and we think that these two events are going to be a fantastic showcase of wrestling here in the United States.
When you say reimagined, specifically the U.S. Open, for example, how do you reimagine the U.S. Open? You're already providing a great opportunity for wrestlers in all styles to compete against the best. How do you reimagine an event like that?
Well, I think in the past, when FILA changed the rules to a single-day format, we kind of patterned that, and we had championships over different days in Las Vegas, and we think it hurt our crowd, it hurt the fans, because they couldn't show up to one finals night, one finals day. So in our reimagining of this, that's one big change that we've made. We are going back to a 2-day format for the U.S. Open. So all our senior athletes will start on Friday, April 18th, and we'll wrestle all the way through the semifinals on that evening. Once we get to the semifinals, we've created a high-performance showcase. We're calling it the Golden Circles. It will be 2 mats. We're hoping to televise the semifinals on Friday night on those 2 mats and create more of a venue type of atmosphere instead of just being spread out in the convention center. Then on Saturday, we'll continue with some consolations, and then Saturday evening, we will have our finals once again on the 2-mat Golden Circle showcase.
When you say Golden Circle, are we talking about, and help me describe this to our wrestling fans out there? Are we raising a platform? Are we putting special lights on this? Are we how are we treating it differently other than
So in the past with Las Vegas, obviously a lot of wrestling at the US Open, a lot of wrestling that needed to take place. We had 4 race platforms. We tried to showcase our seniors as much as we could on those 4 race platforms, but it was just a situation that it was too much, too spread out. So what we've done is we're going to 2 raised platforms. We're creating seating all the way around those 2 raised platforms. We plan on bringing lighting and trussing in to create more of a introduction, more of a production element with lights in a different type of show. But again, I think it's our best wrestling. Our semifinals and finals are going to take place on these 2 raised platforms, and it gives the fans I think a little better product to watch because you're only paying attention to 2 mats as opposed to 4. And I think it's going to be a great situation. The other thing that we've kind of reimagined on this is we are bringing a youth component into it. So we're starting at 5 years old all the way up to our senior level. So what we're billing it as is all ages, all styles. And I think it's going to be a great competition.
And are we going to get a little bit of a taste of this USA versus India at the NCAA's this year, do you think?
Well, I think that at the NCAA Fan Fest, it's a little more difficult to produce a show just because of finances and because do we go ahead and put $30,000 into a 1-hour show? So we'll try to produce as best we can, as cost effective as we can in the Fan Fest area, USA versus India. India's got a fantastic team. They're an up and comer. They've trained with us for the past three years here at the Colorado Springs prior to Dave Schultz, and they've got a few world medalists, so it will be a good test. We probably won't have our number 1, so to speak, athletes in there, but we'll have a good flavor of Oklahoma State and Oklahoma University athletes in the lineup.
Well, all in all, I understand that returning back, and you and I have had a positive experience most recently in Los Angeles when wrestling was off the table, as it were. We were looking for reasons and ways to create an atmosphere that national news would cover the sport of wrestling, and we would keep it at the forefront of those that were going to be voting on its future in the Olympic Games. And in that visit we took to Los Angeles, the competition we had in L.A. gave us a good taste of what it could be. Do you believe that the 10 teams that will be competing there on the 14, 15, and 16, do you believe that those teams represent not only the best in the world, but the best opportunity for us to create a showcase, if you will?
Yeah, I think this World Cup is going to be unbelievable. We've got a great field of athletes, great field of teams. They're based upon their finish at last year's World Championship. So it's obviously the world medalists that get to compete in this. We're in a phenomenal facility. The forum has been redone. They put $100 million into renovation. It's a spectacular showcase to watch wrestling. It's going to be the best, most comfortable venue that wrestling's ever been held at. And I just think that the competition is going to be second to none. We're going to try to produce this in a fashion that's going to bring energy to the fans. And we just hope that the USA crowd shows up. I think that's one of the things that we want. Team USA, the reason we wanted the World Cup is to create a home field advantage. Obviously, Iran has almost 1 million people in LA, so we think that they're going to come in force. There's a great Russian community, there's a great Armenian community, a great Japanese community. So I think that there's going to be a lot of countries, a good melting pot for all countries, and I think it's going to be a fantastic event.
Well, I got to tell you, it's going to be a terrific opportunity for wrestling fans, and there are wrestling fans who are going to travel coast to coast to see this event. Of course, we're talking about the World Cup. It'll take place in Los Angeles this March over a very special weekend, the 15th and 16th. You want to make sure to get your travel plans now, and I believe there are special travel opportunities on our USA Wrestling website, themat.com. Easy enough to get there. But, Pete, when you get out there, you're going to be immersed in wrestling culture. You talked about the fan base. That's there over 1 million plus Iranian or at least the Persian population, and these folks love their wrestling.
Oh, that's correct, Scott. Wrestling is the number one sport in Iran. It's basically right up there with soccer, which is comparable to our American football, and this is the sport for them. Whether you're just a general person, you know about the wrestling heroes of the past from Iran, and it's going to be a great competition. And I just want to mention the website, Scott, is www.wrestlingworldcup.com. You can go directly to that website, find schedules, and there's also accommodations for a friends and family rate that we've created for hotels.
Oh, very nice. And also we want to recognize some of those that are helping to make this event possible, those in-state, most notably Dwayne Morgan from California, USA. Also Andy Barth and the leadership that he has provided. His team has been doing a good job of winning events lately as well.
Yeah, Andy is really brought a great perspective to USA Wrestling and our freestyle team in general. And the Titan Merkin Wrestling Club has been doing a phenomenal job at the senior level. They've created a club that's got some great athletes on it. As you said, they've been winning a lot of our competitions lately. In addition, Andy's helped with Beat the Streets LA, another good group that is doing some great things out there in LA along with California USA. So we really feel that California is doing some great things for us. We think that LA provides the best opportunity to be successful for the World Cup. And, unfortunately, we aren't able to pick the date. There are some challenges date-wise within the California calendar, but we're hoping that to have this in a 3-year fashion, that our goal is to have it this year in 2015 and 2016. And hopefully in 15 and 16 we can maximize our date choice.
And they're calling it the new forum. You said $100 million renovation to a building that was already stellar in my estimation. $100 million. How do you spend $100 million?
Well, I tell you, they've put every new seat in the place. It's a theater type seating, so it's cushioned seats, and then they've also put a lot of money into the different show offices and things like that. So you go down in some of those star suites, you definitely feel like you're special. But they've reimagined it. I think it's going to be a phenomenal venue. I think the atmosphere is going to be second to none, and I just hope that USA shows up in force and cheers on our team, and we hopefully have face paint and flags and just create a great wrestling environment.
Rally for Wrestling last time we were there, and of course Kaz Somnani was a big part of that presentation. Will he have a thumbprint on this event as well?
Well, I think Khosrow is helping us out. He definitely has an affinity to the U.S., an affinity to USA Wrestling and our U.S. athletes. So I think Khosrow and his whole foundation, they want to be involved, and it's not as much as they were in United for Wrestling, but they will still be involved and do some special things for the event.
We're talking again with Director of National Events, Pete Isais. Always has his hands full from little kids on up to the big kids, and it is a yeoman's job. How you're able to balance these things out is beyond me, but you seem to be pretty adept at balancing your time. What comes after the World Cup then? That takes us to the Nationals, right?
Well, yes, we've got the World Cup. Then we're doing the India versus USA at the NCAA Fan Fest on Thursday. In between sessions, we'll go right from there to our Folkstown Nationals in Cedar Falls, Iowa, with 2,200 plus kids.
Wow.
The first weekend in April. Then we get a little breathing room and go right into our US Open Western Junior Regional and our kids event out in Las Vegas on April 17th through the 19th. So busy April, but we're looking forward to it. And like I said, I think it's an exciting time for wrestling right now. The rule changes we feel have really benefited the sport. It's created a lot more action, and we're just ready to have a good product hopefully this spring and summer.
Pete, in particular, give them that website one more time for travel accommodations and more information about the LA World Cup.
It's www.wrestlingworldcup.com.
WrestlingWorldCup.com. It just can't get a whole lot easier than that. Pete, I appreciate you taking the time, and again, want to thank those out in California that are preparing for the arrival of wrestling fans from around the world, and boy, will they be coming in. Prior to letting you go, can you name the 10 teams that are in attendance other than the U.S.?
Yes, we've got Iran, Ukraine, Russia, India, Turkey, Japan, Mongolia, Georgia, and Armenia.
Oh man, those are some tough teams, indeed. And they arrive at the top 10, if you will, based on performance in events around the world.
Yeah. So basically, the only one that wasn't in the top 10 was Japan. We had Cuba, who backed out due to financial considerations, and we tried to get the next best team, Azerbaijan, to come in, but due to scheduling conflicts, they couldn't come. So then we ended up inviting Japan, which we feel will create a great atmosphere, a good draw. Again, a large contingent of Japanese people in LA.
I've got to ask you, it took place over the weekend. Jordan Burroughs had run up his win-loss record to 69 consecutive wins or thereabouts, and he takes a loss on the weekend to Nick Maribel. As a competitor, as a coach, as a concerned citizen of the state or the sport of wrestling, as it were, what does this do? What does this do for his weight class in particular, but wrestling as a whole around the world?
Well, I really think that as we're showing, the 74 kilo weight class in the United States has some phenomenal depth. We've got Dake Maribel, David Taylor, and obviously Jordan Burroughs. I think we've got a lot of depth at that weight. It's too bad that we couldn't shift some people up and down, but I think it's a good situation. It makes a statement that the U.S. is providing quality depth. We're starting to go out overseas and get a lot of medals from our 2s and 3s, and I think that's the statement right now, is that the U.S. is back. We're getting depth, and we're ready to compete on a world stage.
Always good to talk to you, Pete, and thank you so much for you, your staff, and all of those at USA Wrestling for doing what you guys do. I know it's a big job, but our wrestlers deserve nothing less than the best, and we appreciate the effort you put forward.
No, thank you, Scott, and thanks for all you do and all your staff. We appreciate all your services.
We'll keep updated on the LA World Cup. Of course, all the events as they happen. It'll be the LA World Cup. It'll be U.S. versus India the week of the 21st, 22nd, 23rd in Oklahoma City. Then we're off to action in Las Vegas. You want to make sure you keep up to date on all the happenings. The easiest way to go to it, of course, is themat.com. That's Pete Isais, Director of National Events. I'm Scott Casper, and thanks for watching.